I admit the topics in the last video might have felt a bit dry, which is probably because they were mostly concerning meta stuff like file statuses. My idea was to get those topics out of the way pretty much at the beginning, because otherwise they would have bothered us throughout the whole course. Now we covered them and we can finally get back to more concrete stuff and build some small things. In this video, we are going to talk about changes. We already know that version control is all about taking snapshots of our projects. And being able to efficiently compare those snapshots is so important in version control that it actually got its own name. It's called diffing. Is this a real English word? Probably not, but it's definitely a real word in the world of version control. We are back in Unity in a new, very simple project, which I created to showcase how we can diff in Plastic. In order to explain this project to you, I will actually use diffing. In Plastic, you can diff two things, basically. You can diff changesets, or you can diff individual files. When we go to Plastic and look at the branch explorer, you can see the handful changesets that were recorded for this project. Everything before the last changeset is just default setup and initialization. All the actual work and the actual files that make up this project were added in the last changeset. So how can we see what changes it introduced? All we have to do is to right-click and choose Diff with Previous, which will open a new window. In this window, we can see what changed compared to the previous changeset. If this reminds you a bit of the pending changes window we were looking at all the time, this is no coincidence. But this time, we are looking at changes that already happened. What are those changes? Let's for now just look at the files and not the contents, and in many cases this might actually be enough to roughly understand what happened in a change set. We can see a couple of changes in the scene file, which is probably not a big surprise. Obviously, if I want to show anything in the project, I need to add something to the scene. Then we can see an input asset which is called simple actions, which means that something in the scene is probably using some input. The two folders which were added are not really very interesting. And finally, we can see a player controller, which is a script, and probably means that there is some player in the scene. That is it. Very, very simple. Let's now take a look at the actual project in Unity. When we start, we see a white square, which we can move by the WASD keys. That's all. As funny as that is, you might still ask the question, why exactly this project? The project as it is basically uses three different files. And it's no coincidence that all those files represent a different category in terms of diffing in Plastic. When we want to roughly label the categories, those would be scene files, asset files, and scripts. And yes, the scene is also an asset in Unity, but as you will see soon, we have to treat scene files special. Let's now actually go over how changes on the particular files are stored. The first file I would like to look at is this simple actions asset. If you're not familiar with the new input system, there are a lot of resources on the web to help you get started. The way this works in a nutshell is that we create an asset in which we can define all the actions that we might need input for, like moving, for example. And then in this asset, we can bind the actions to concrete input devices, like a keyboard or a controller or both. The advantage is that the scripts later don't have to worry about the actual devices, but rather just use the actions. Since this is a course on version control, we are interested in the following question. When we look at the asset, we can see some configurations I provided. In our case, this is very simple because all I have is one action, move, for which I set the appropriate WASD controls. That's it. This is not special for the input actions asset. Unity stores all sorts of stuff in similar assets where you configure some behavior. Think of materials, animations, or all sorts of settings which you would configure in a similar way. Now, in the editor, we have a special window which allows us to set this behavior, but obviously for version control, there must be some other representation how those settings are actually stored. The Unity editor itself does not really want to show that to you by default, but when we go back to Plastic and look at our div, we can see how the changes are actually stored. All the config from the input actions from the editor window before boils down to this boring text file. I don't really want to go too deep on what that file exactly is. If you know JSON, this will be very familiar. But even if you don't, you will still be able to roughly understand what is going on. And that is what you will need most of the time in Plastic. We will never write those files in a text editor. We just need to be able to compare and roughly understand them. So in this case, we said that we defined an action move, which we can see here. And then we provided a binding for the WASD keys of the keyboard, which are the following entries. In 9 of 10 cases, this level of detail will be enough to understand the changes. We don't have to understand every single line and property. So this is one type of file that we will have to work with. Most of the assets in Unity which you can configure and edit will be stored in a very similar way. Let's now go back to Unity and have a look at the scene, where we can see a single new game object, which is just a simple square sprite. This game object, besides of the default sprite stuff, has two added components. A player input component, which is connecting the input asset we saw a second ago, and a player controller, which we will look at in a second. Here again, we have the same question. A typical scene needs to store all sorts of information. For one, we need the whole hierarchy, in other words, what game objects are present and how they are related. And then for each game object, we need to store all of its components. Again, Unity is an editor, and it was developed for that very reason, such that we don't have to work with text files, but focus on creating game mechanics. But for version control, we have to be able to represent all of our work somehow as text. We already know a way to see that representation, so back in Plastic, this time let's look at the scene file. Okay, this looks like a lot. But again, remember that the scene file needs to store basically everything you did in the scene. We will need to go a bit deeper on scene files later, but for now let's just remember what we saw in Unity. There was a square game object, which we can find here. And besides the default sprite component, we said that we added a player input component and a player controller script. You will not find the names of those components because they're actually linked by IDs. But since there are the only two mono behaviors currently, I know that those are the right scripts. Maybe you noticed that this time the file type is a bit different. We have a so-called YAML file. Again, it's not really crucial to understand in order to work with the files, but most of the files from the Unity editor will either be stored as something similar to JSON or as YAML. And if you know those file types, you probably also know that they can basically store the same information. It is useful to know that YAML uses indentation for nesting, So for example, when we look at this transform component, all those following properties on the same indentation belong to the same component, like local rotation, local position, or local scale, which we would expect on a transform component. If you don't fully understand that yet, don't worry, we will see several examples where we will actually compare real scene files, and we will talk about why you should actually avoid making changes to the scene files directly. As said, there are three most common categories for files. We saw asset files, we saw a special asset, which is the scene file, and obviously what's left and where a lot of our work will happen are normal script files. We saw that the square player from our, let's call it, game had a script attached to it, so let's see what it does. Again, we can open the file in our Changeset div, and this time we are not really surprised how the file content is represented, since it is just code, which is just text, which we can just store exactly as we wrote it. What you can see here is the absolute minimum functionality which we need to move the player. It's just a callback for the Unity event which we connected on the player input component. Okay, we saw the three file types which we'll have to deal with in Unity and how they are stored. We learned what diffing is and how we can diff to changesets. In the next video, let's make some small changes to those very files we just saw and diff them to actually know what we are checking in.